This video is primarily for me to talk about my health. Now, my health is a lot better than it was in 2011. There's been a lot of different things that I've learned, a lot of different things that I've gone through, and a lot of things that have helped me out. I was in the hospital 4 times between the time I moved here, which was September 2nd, 2010, and now. Now that's just hospitalization. I'm not counting the chemotherapy, because I went through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, so technically I've been in hospital 10 times. But I'm talking about where I was hospitalized. I was in a hospital room for a period of more than 1 day. I had pneumonia back in October 2010. That happened when I walked into a local restaurant down here in North Carolina. I'm not going to mention the name of the place, but the hostess probably shouldn't have been at work that day. She appeared that she had just came back from being sick. Now me, I have a compromised immune system, and whatever she had, I caught it. And next thing you know, I was coughing. Sort of like I've been coughing in the last couple videos that I've done. But you see, this I know is allergies because my eyes get red every once in a while, and I'm sneezing. I know it's allergies. The other way you can tell too is if you go over to a basin, like in your restroom, and you spit. If your spit comes out clear, it's an allergy. If it comes out yellow, it's a cold. And if it comes out red, it's either bronchitis or pneumonia. Well, back in October of 2010, it was red. And that's when I decided to drive myself to the hospital, and they diagnosed me with pneumonia. I was in the hospital for 48 hours. I went in about 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, got out about 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon of the same week. The second time I was in the hospital was in May of 2011. May 18th to be exact. And what happened was I'm sitting here and I'm fine. And I go out this door right here and I go to walk over to the rental office because I had a question for the people in the rental office at my apartment complex, and I was gasping for air. I mean, literally, I was taking 5 steps and I could not breathe. Now, due to the fact that I was able to breathe fine when I was sitting, but I was not able to breathe while I was walking, I knew there was something wrong. And it wasn't like I was completely losing my breath, because I could go. It felt more like I was on the moon, like there wasn't any air there to inhale. So I went to the hospital, and what I had was a pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism is a blood clot to the lung. And then after getting an MRI and having a whole bunch of other tests done, they found out that the blood clot was from my right knee. They told me this. It was from my right knee. And it got itself dislodged and went all the way up into my lungs. And that was causing me not to breathe. I was very lucky because blood clots can go to your lungs, they can go to your heart, they can go to your brain. The only one you can survive is the lungs, and that's what happened to me. And you do get a warning because you can't breathe when that happens. So they immediately put me on a blood thinner called Coumadin, plus another blood thinner that was through the IV. And they got all that cleared up. Now I'm on Coumadin the rest of my life. And that keeps my blood thin so I don't get any more blood clots. Now, with them telling me it was my right knee, I remembered back to 1997 And I was putting some stuff up into the attic at my dad's house. And the steps, it was one of those little things where you pull a little string down and the stairs unfold. Well, I was on the 5th step, and the steps decided to not hold my weight anymore, and I came crashing to the ground. My leg swelled up, and it was my right leg, swelled up like a balloon. And after a while, the swelling went down, and I was fine. But for the next 14 years after that, I thought I had arthritis in this right knee, because I always had a little twinge of pain down there. But then what happened was when this blood clot went up into my lung, the pain in the knee disappeared. And the hospital's telling me the blood clot was in my right knee. So I put 2 and 2 together. It was the blood clot from 1997, not the arthritis from 1997. And since then, I've had no pain in my right knee at all. The 3rd trip that I made to the hospital was in August of 2011. That was cellulitis. Now, when I go have my blood checked at the hospital, they always have you pull around and they valet your car for you. Doesn't cost anything. And they put you in a wheelchair and they wheel you in. But what happened was I'm on the way back out to my car, and I thought that she wanted me to, the girl who was pushing the wheelchair, I thought she wanted me to stand up, and it was time to get into my car. Well, actually what she was doing was she was just stopping, waiting for a guy in another spot to back out and pass by us so she could get around to my door easier. What I did was I took my feet and I put them on the ground. And then 2 seconds later, she's starting to push the wheelchair again. Pushed the wheelchair right in the back of both of my legs. Put gashes on them that big. And with me having cellulitis before, you've seen the videos, I got cellulitis again. And I was hospitalized for that because that's a nasty infection to have in your leg. So I was in the hospital 2 weeks for that. And they got all that taken care of. And my 4th trip into the hospital was in October 2011. And I was going in to have a portacaf put right here in my chest. What the portacaf does is it hooks up to the needle that gives you the chemotherapy. You see, you cannot get chemo in the arm because these are veins. Okay, chemo is strong enough that it would blow out the vein. It would burst the vein. It has to go into an artery. And it's done on the right side because your heart is on the left. So I had to put this portacaf in. The portacaf is still underneath my skin to this day. And it's kind of like what happens is they take the other half of the portacaf and they just push the needle through the skin. The needle hooks up the wires. And that's how I receive the chemotherapy. And it's very easy. There's no pain. You know, you can feel the needle popping through your skin, but when you get a needle here, you can feel the needle popping through your skin there also. And this is more sensitive than this is. So I was able to go into the hospital that day, and of course they run you through all the tests. They check your pulse, and they, check your blood pressure, and they realized what happened was when they put that little thing on my little finger here, that my breathing was only 81%. Well, what they decided to do, because my breathing was only 81%, was to do the placement of the portacaf in-house rather than out-of-house. Excuse me. And they checked me into the hospital. I was in for 9 days. And what they did was, while they were giving me my first round of chemo, they were also giving me a lot of stuff to release the fluid from my body. And I'll tell you, these fluid things were strong. I could remember one day where I got up to go to the restroom. I went back to my bed, and as soon as I got to my bed, I had to go back into the restroom again and release more fluid, because I was getting it through IV and I was getting it through the tablets. Now I just take the tablets. So that was kind of like my history of medical for the past year and a half. And now everything's good. You know, I've had 6 chemotherapies: October, November, December, January, February, March. And now it's a wait and see. I have to wait and see whether my cancer, which is CLL leukemia, is in remission or whether it's going to come back. They told me that some people it comes back in 3 months, some people it comes back in 1 year, and some people it waits 25 years before it comes back. So it all depends, you know, what happens. My numbers are looking pretty good though when they do the blood tests every Tuesday. And hopefully it'll be 25 years before I have to deal with this again. Because one transfusion of chemotherapy costs about the same amount of money as a Mercedes-Benz. So I don't want to go through too many more. And until next video, thank you for allowing me to bore you, and have a great day. Bye.